Hi everyone, these are the hands of Chris Hamm, lead developer for Kolossal Games, trying to bring you a home edition of Kolossal Plays, where we are all hunkering down in response to the coronavirus epidemic around the world. We certainly hope you're all staying safe. What I'm going to be showing you tonight is the early stage version of the solo game rules for for Ruination, which are now Ruination is now in its final 48 hours on Kickstarter. Ruination, the base game itself, is designed by Travis R. Chance, and it's a dudes on the map battle for supremacy in the wasteland post-apocalyptic world. So what I've done here is work on a solo mode that we mentioned in an update that we're going to bring to everybody, and I'm going to show that to you tonight. Now, I'm not going to go into all of the detailed rules. There are some how to play videos on the Kickstarter. So what I will do is I will play and I will commentate somewhat as I go. What I can tell you from the start of the solo mode and how it differs is that you are attempting to overthrow the Khan. Yes, I know it's unthinkable. It seems like folly, but that is the goal. You wish to be the new Khan. And if you want to be the Khan, you got to beat the Khan. And the only way to do that is to win a battle at the Khan's citadel in the Khan's region. And all of the other hordes, they think this is foolhardy, of course, and whether out of loyalty or fear, they remain at the service of the Khan, and you must defeat each of their home territories and wipe them off the map, and eventually that will allow you to assault the Khan's region, and once you've cleared that, the citadel itself. Now, from a rules perspective, as the player, your turn will effectively be exactly the same as it plays in the regular game. You'll select one of the available actions, resolve the various portions of that action card, and complete your turn, resolving any battles that may result due to contested territories, meaning your troops and the troops of another player, which in this case is the Khan. The only difference that will occur on your turn in that regard from a standard game is the fact that after you've completed your entire turn, you have the option to take an end of turn action. The end of turn actions are one of two things. You can spend 5 victory points to immediately take another turn, or to place one action card from each of the 3 action card discard piles back on the bottom of the deck. Now, why would you do these things? Well, the solo mode is not tied to victory points. It is pass-fail. Either you are victorious and crush the Khan under your boot and ascend to rule the wasteland yourself, or you simply become a legend they share around the campfire as they all mock any foolhardy attempt to overthrow the Khan. So it's pass-fail, and however, the victory points are representative of you gathering further support and buying yourself time before the end of the game, in which case, if you failed to conquer the Khan in that amount of time, well, then he's gathered enough strength and he crushes you, and that's it. So it allows you to stave off one of the end conditions of the game, which are still triggered in the standard ways. Any one of the Khan's Fury symbols being activated. So adding cards back to the bottom of each deck not only will allow you to recycle some of the actions, but it will stave off a game end trigger as well as some of the others. The only thing I'll say about the action decks being modified for this is the fact that they've been cut in half. There's only 1 copy of each card, but all of them are there. We've taken the level 3 advantages out of the game, but now there are 3 level 1s and 3 level 2s available. And of course, there are 3 exiles available for you to acquire exactly the way you normally would. Lastly, we've selected an exile at random during setup over here, who will be revealed as the champion of the Khan when the final showdown at the Citadel occurs. With that in mind, I'm just going to go ahead and begin, and we will see if I can succeed or not. I've chosen to play as the Blood of Tingri. After having set up the exiles, the actions, and the advantages, I've chosen this home region. I then set up the other 3 regions using a symmetrical setup for all of them, and then the same unit types from each horde, all of which are considered loyal to the Khan, are set up in the 2 territories surrounding the citadel. So, without any further ado, let's see if I can become the new Khan. So on my first turn, I'm going to choose the Toil action, which is a recruit action. I have the same 3 options on this I would have in the standard game, of course. So I gain a favor. I will choose to resolve the text portion of it to gain 2 resources at a territory I control. So I'm going to take a look around, and I control this one where it is, look at that, 2 yellow. And I made that choice because the Exile Ghazan over here costs 3 yellow resources, grain. And lastly, I'm going to take the recruit portion, which is 3 recruit value worth of units, and that will allow me to add 1 here, here, and here. I'd actually already done that because a little rehearsal. I am not a frequent media creator, so we're winging it here tonight, folks. So now that I've completed that action, I have the resources, and following any recruit action, you have the option to acquire one of the available exiles if you have the resources, which in this case I do. So I will spend my 3. I will recruit Ghazan, add a bastion to the same territory as Ghazan. All right, so let's find our hammer friend here, and we will place it in the corner here of my home region, my starting territory. And now there are 2 bastions there, and I'll explain how that works a little more when they become relevant. It is a little different in the solo game, although they still generate points for the player, which is important because it buys you time. That is the completion of my turn. So now the Khan's turn. Now, the Khan is considered to technically be marshaling his forces, and we're trying to strike before he gathers his full might, because if we were to delay long enough, no one can take on the Khan. That would be absurd. But at this point, the Khan's turns are simply, you move the Khan's banner from one side to the other. Now, he gains either a favor or a glory, depending on where the Khan's banner was at the time. So now we are tied for favor. In the event that there's a battle, whoever has the most favor will get to roll the favor die. The Khan does not actually gain resources from it because he does not particularly care. But should he be more favored than you and roll it in the battle, you will have to lose the sort of resources that are rolled on it. So certainly staying more favored than the Khan is important. Additionally, the Khan can claim the bastions on that track as well, should he accelerate past you. And that's it for the Khan's turn. So next turn for me. All right, let's see. Oh, I forgot to replace the exile that I bought. All right, so let's see. We could use some resources. We got to get out of here and start ridding the world of these vile hordes that foolishly don't recognize a new leader is coming to liberate them. So I am going to choose a sail, which is movement, and I will take a glory. So I advance on the glory track, and I roll 2 black dice, battle dice, and I would choose another player to inflict casualties on their units equal to their choice equal to the stars roll. But sadly, I did not roll any stars. I do not wish to spend my 1 blessing to attempt to modify that, so it missed. Now, this would have been a choice for the Khan, as he is the only other player in the solo game, in which case, anytime the Khan is forced to kill his own units, he always starts with the weakest in power and moves upward. So grunts would die first, raiders second, brutes last. So now I can move, so I can explode out of one space or crunch in on another, and I will go ahead and I will crunch in on a space over here into Rust Buzzard territory. Now I'm crossing the wasteland, as you can see, and I do not have an available resource. So I have to kill one of the units that crossed it. Sorry about your grunt. Life in the wasteland is it's tough these days for everybody. All right, so now there is a contested region, as you can see, and we go to the battle board, which hopefully you can see over here. I'm going to do my best. We set the strength. Now I'm using the blood of the tin green marker. So each of my grunts is worth 1 strength, so I have a strength of 4. And the Khan, you simply use markers of one of the other hordes, in this case the purple horde, and he has a strength of 2. Neither of us initially have any casualties, so the board is set. We both only have 1 type of unit, so we're both only going to roll 1 die. Now, my die roll, of course, will have all of the standard options that I can apply, taking battle actions and whatnot. However, the Khan's dice are slightly modified. He does not actually take any actions. Their dice are simply assigned following some basic modifications. So in the solo mode, stars for the Khan at this time represent casualties. So the Khan goes from 0 to 2 casualties he'll be inflicting on my units, and blanks count as 1 strength. The other results are their normal values. So at this time, the Khan is going to lose the fight to me, but he's inflicting 2 casualties. So I have a star that I could spend over here as a battle action. I'll go ahead and gain a strength, although I do not need it at this point. And that's it. I win the battle 5-2. Because I am the winner, I increase the casualties I'm going to inflict by 1 to 1. I have to resolve the casualties inflicted on me, which is 2, and I do so. I lose 2 of my grunts. The Khan has to lose 1 unit, which he does, and then he must retreat. Now, units for the Khan retreat to the nearest bastion, or if the distance is equal, they retreat to the citadel. Well, currently this bastion is available, so the grunt retreats there. Now, I defeated 2 units in battle, and so just like in the standard rules, I gain 2 victory points. And, of course, those are very valuable for spending to maintain the game. At this time, I don't have more than 5 victory points, so there's not even any option. My turn is now complete. The Khan gains a glory, and his turn is done. Marker moves back. So back to me. So as you can see, the action as the player in the solo game is constant, and as it continues, you feel the pressure of the time crushing down on you, because you only have so many actions, you only have so much time, and you have to juggle these things and continue to win battles and marshal your troops and build out your horde board with advantages, which I'm about to start looking into very strongly here in a moment, and do all of this in a timely manner. So let's see, what do I need to do? Man, oh man, that would be pretty nice. That would not. Oh, hello, Nergui. So we will go ahead and take a scavenge action. Barter. It has glory, so I will use the glory. That moves me to the second spot. I get to recruit 1 in each of my home territories. So we'll do that now. I will choose to scavenge from here, and that gives me 5 grain. And I gain 1 blessing, and I may acquire exiles this turn. So that is going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and spend 4 and acquire Nergui over here. Or Nigui, I don't know. I'll have to ask exactly how it's pronounced. Regardless, the dude that rides the bear and crushes your enemies, that's what we need to keep in mind. And then go ahead and replace that. So Nergui comes in, and I resolve his ability, Assault. Move all units in the same territory as Nergui to an enemy-controlled territory. You are +1 strength in each battle this turn. So looks like we're going to jump. Now, I cannot jump into this region until I've dealt with all the outlying horde regions. So we're just going to jump right into here. Thank you very much. And looks like we got a fight on our hands, and I'm starting at +1. Now, notice this battle is taking place where there is a bastion. And this is important because the forces of the Khan gain +1 strength for each bastion in their region in the solo game. So the Khan is also going to begin at +1. He has a brute, a raider, and 2 grunts. So that is strength 6 after the +1 of the bastion. And I have 2, 4, 5. Nergui is 7, 9. I have 9 strength for strength of 10. And now we assign the battle dice just as you would in a normal game. Neither of us is favored at this point, so the favored die will not be rolled. I will be rolling, let's see, 4 dice, and then 1 for Nergui. So 5 battle dice. Oh, that's a lot of blanks. And the Khan is going to roll 3. So the Khan will we go ahead and apply all of his results. That's 2 strength, 2 casualties. Oh, we were both already at 1. That takes him to 3. And I am going to win the fight because I'm already at 10 strength. But man, do I have a lot of blanks over here. I'm actually not going to do any rerolls because blessings are so valuable. So I'm gonna absorb those losses and save the blessings. So I win the battle. He had a defense force of 4, so that's 4 victory points, taking me to 6. I increase the casualties I'm inflicting by 1. I resolve those against me, which are 3. So that's 2. Boy. I guess we'll get rid of the grunt. The grunt. Yeah, or the brute, I should say. So I lose my 3. That was tough. And now we assign the 2 casualties to the Khan, who of course loses grunts, because that is the rule. These units are already at a bastion. All other bastions are equal distance, so they must retreat to the citadel. They will prepare for the final showdown, and I'm sure they've got tales to tell the Khan at this point. So that is the end of that turn. All right, now at this time, because I do have more than 5 victory points, I would have the option to either immediately take another turn without the Khan, gaining favor or glory, or I could go ahead and choose to take place one of each of these cards on the back of their appropriate decks. And at this point, I'm not going to do it. But you might say, well, if you're just going to take another turn right off the Khan, why would that matter? Well, because they're advancing down these tracks, which is providing benefits to the Khan resource-wise, but also pushing the game to its conclusion. So, but at this time, I'm going to hold off. All right, so the Khan, he gains a favor. He's now favored in battles against me. This moves here, and the action's back to me. All right. Well, I did say that I wanted to get some resources, but I feel like I need to recruit first. So we will enlist, and I replace an available exile. Well, who costs stuff that I don't make? Hassan, you are gone, my friend. So we'll put you on the bottom deck and reveal a new one. Maxoff. And we love Maxoff. All right, we also gain 2 glory. So now I score, well, we'll actually do the recruit portion first. So I will recruit 1 and another. I'll use the other 2 points there. Now I get to gain 1 point for every bastion I control. I have 2 in my home territory here, 1 over here. That's 3 points. That's going to take me to 9. And now the action is concluded. Khan gains a glory. So now, whenever the Khan triggers one of these glory recruit actions, he places units in the citadel. Where do they come from? Well, they come from his dead units, which you are graciously supplying him. So as it turns out, he only has 3 units in the dead pile. If he couldn't fulfill it, he would only be able to do as many as he had. And those 3 are also now waiting for me at the Citadel when the showdown comes. And so now it's back to me. All right, so we need to start building our horde board here. So I'm going to take a plunder, which gives me a favor. Now, one of the things on plunder here is take 1 resource from another player. It's of any type. For the purposes of taking stuff, the Khan is considered to have any number, unlimited. So let's take a look over here. Ooh, we do like slag armor. And unfortunately, we are not positioned very well to get it. Weapons mods. Oh, let's see. We will... We will go ahead and take the meat from that. Then we'll perform the scavenge portion. This time I'm going to take from every territory I have. So that's a food, or a grain, a meat, a scrap, a water, and another scrap. So now if I have the necessary resources, I could purchase one of the available advantages. And is that a death worm I see up there? Why, yes, that is a death worm. So we're going to go ahead and pay those 2, use this one as the wild, and we're going to take the death worm and we're going to pay the additional 2 to add it to the first slot of our horde board here, meaning that now in battles, the blood of the Tingri will get to roll the death worm die and bring death and misery on our enemies, just as we would love to do. That is now going to be replaced, just as we would do in the normal game. That action is done. So now the Khan is going to... oh, I should have moved this back. He's going to gain a favor. So I'm working on some stuff that integrates the victory points for the Khan. At this point, it's going to be very basic because this is very early in the stages of development. But every time the Khan would cross a 5 victory point status, he's going to add a blessing that will add to his strength in the final showdown. It's a little bit different, and that part's experimental, but as I said, this is in very early stages of development. So that would be the Khan's turn, and it comes back to... oh, and then that moves, and it comes back to me. So, let's see. I would really love to get me some slag armor. But I also need to start crushing some enemies. So let's see. That's going to be quite good. What's the move? Move is ambush. Yeah, we can do that. We'll go ahead and take this ambush card. Let's see. Oof. Yeah, we're definitely going to move up on the favor track. And replace an enemy grunt with one of your own. So we'll go ahead and replace this guy. Then we will move. I'm going to move out of here. And I'm going to collapse in on this space. Now, once again, I am resource dry, and the wasteland punishes me for it, but so be it. Now you notice I did leave this corner and it's no longer occupied. That's okay for the purposes of attacking the Khan at the end of the game. It doesn't disallow that. However, it does, I will score fewer points that I can later spend on stuff by vacating that. It's a trade-off I'm willing to make. Alright, so now I've performed that action completely, and we have a couple contested regions. So we'll go ahead and do the small one first. Both the Khan and I have 1 unit each, so we both have strength of 1. We are inflicting no casualties. Neither of us are favored. The Khan will roll 1 die, I will roll 1 die, and I will roll the Death Worm die. So here's the Khan. That's a star. Well, it could be worse. And I roll a casualty. All right. So currently, just like the standard game, If strength is tied, the attacker wins. I am the attacker, so I'm going to defeat this unit. I get to inflict one additional casualty from the Death Worm, so I'm going to move that up to 1, but I win the fight anyway, so I'm going to gain 1 victory point, and this unit is killed. However, I also lose my unit, but that's fine. I got rid of their presence in that territory, so it was well worth it. And now we'll move... Oh, and I did roll a blank, so I grab a blessing. Now, we'll resolve this battle here, where I have a lot more dice to choose from. 1 from Nurgui, 1 for an exile, and 1 for each unit type. So 5 dice, and the Deathworm die versus 1 die. So this is going to be, we're going to mop this guy up. We're just hoping he doesn't roll 2 stars for casualties. So he's only got 2 strength, and I've got lotsies. So 4, 6, 8 strength. So no concern here. We're actually rooting for blanks so we can get a lot of blessings. That's not too bad. And he rolls a blank, which is +1 strength. Not anywhere near enough. So we're going to crush him. I will not bother to apply any of my actions, but I could gain 2 additional strength, and I could activate that again and gain 1 more strength by just using the card portion with that. I will not spin there because I don't have enough, and these will result in me gaining 2 additional blessings, which I will definitely need later when it's time to fight it out with the Khan. I inflict 1 additional casualty, which is enough, and both of his guys are killed. However, I have to assign 1 of my own, and yes, bad news for you, Mr. Grunt. You're not going to make it. Alright, so now here is an interesting situation. Let's see. The next time the Khan gains favor, now he's about to gain glory, but the next time he gains favor, if he wins the race to that bastion on the favor track, he will actually get to add it to the Citadel, which only strengthens his presence there when I eventually come knocking on his door. So I could go ahead and pay 5 victory points, take another turn right now, and I would have a little more free reign. Because if I don't do it now, I have to do it on my next turn, as he will then gain it. So one way or the other, ideally I want to gain 1 more favor before the Khan gets to. As it stands, I'm going to go ahead and be patient, so I'm going to let him gain this, because I've looked ahead and I've seen the action, and I'm happy to take it. So then that moves back over. My turn, I will take Usurp. That is, and I will gain the favor. So we'll go ahead and take that right now, and we'll add it to our home. And it's another move action, and gain +1 strength at the start of the first battle this turn. Gain 1 favor. Okay, so what kind of awesome moves do we want to do here? Of course we're out of resources. I'm going to have to work on that. We will... Can I pull that off? If I were to hit the corner there, he would have 7. That's too much. That's too much. I guess we'll just swing those 2 bros in there and see how it goes. Alright, so that card is now done. And that puts us at 3 strength to begin because of the bonus of that. Khan starts at 2. And neither of us are currently inflicting any casualties, although my Deathworm will likely have something to say about that. Now, finally, I am favored, so I will also be rolling the favor die, one battle die, and the Deathworm die. So let's see what we roll here. And we roll 1 die for the Khan, who, of course, inflicts a casualty with that star. So we gain 2 blessings. We're currently tied in strength, so we're going to win this fight. But we will use the Deathworm die for a casualty, and we'll keep the blank. So the blank will give us another blessing. We win the fight. We go to 2 casualties inflicted. we gain 2 victory points, and both of the Khan's troops are killed. However, we have to choose one of ours to die, which is just another grunt, and that's the end of the turn. Back to the Khan. Oh, sorry about your Khan, no bastion for you. Guess you should have... in this case, it's not favor with the Khan, it's favor with the people, of course. So currently, we are trending very well with the locals. This moves back to the other side. So, let's see. We could get a lot of water. What we really want is meat, because I want that slag armor. So, let's see. If we move in there and feed a grunt to the machine, we only need 4. It's a little risky. That seems like the play. Okay, here we go. We'll take a recruit action. I will gain the glory. Then I will use the recruit portion of it, and I will recruit a raider and a grunt in my home territories there. I will then use the muster action portion, recruit 1 at each territory I control. So we're going to go grunt, 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 and grunt. Yes, some of you aren't going to make it across the wasteland, but I'm okay with that. Alright, so that is all for that action. The Khan now gains a favor, or a glory. Now this is rough. I've been dragging my feet a little too much, and the Khan, when he does this, he's going to add 1 bastion to each territory he controls with a bastion. Of course, each providing an additional strength in a battle. And then he's going to score. So the Khan currently controls 7 bastions. So that takes him to 9. And we're going to go ahead and he's unlocking this blessing token, which will be used in the final showdown. And for the Khan, it simply adds 1 to his strength at the start of the battle. Okay, so this moves back. And it's about time to go punch some Khan loyalists in the face. Let's see. That is a move action, and charge we will. So we'll gain 3 blessing tokens. It's almost time to start putting some of those to use. And we are going to move into this space. Let's see. We're going to need a little bit of grunt cannon fodder. So this guy does not make it across the wasteland. Sorry, my friend. Alright, now you may notice that I have 3, 5, 8 units